Here is my crying baby carrot that I've created during Sculpt January 2017. And in this video, we take a look at the Sculpt Tools add-on, which you can download for free. You simply have to Google Blender Sculpt Tools or anything like that, then go to this GitHub link. And here you click on clone or download and then download zip, and then you can download it. I already did that. And then in the user preferences in Blender, under add-ons, go to install from file, navigate to the location where you put this, and then install from file. I already did this. Then you have to enable this. As you can see here, simply check the box here, and then you can find this in the 3D view tool shelf, or you press Shift Control B. Shift Control B, you can see, and also you find it down here in the tab Sculpt. If you don't want to switch between tools and Sculpt all the time, you simply hold down Shift, left click on this, and then this will be pinned, and then it will show up in every other tab. Simply left click on this again, and then the pin will be removed. The Sculpt Tools don't give you options for the sculpt mode. It gives you options for working with meshes you are sculpting on. So this carrot consists out of different objects, as you can see. And now let's see what this Sculpt Tools does. First of all, we have this remesh option here. This allows us basically to remesh the whole object using quads. If you are using dynamic topology to sculpt your object, then it will be only using triangles. And if you want to remesh your whole object and only using quads, then you can use this remesh option. Simply set up the depths and then hit remesh. And as you can see now, they are only quads. You can do basically the same thing using the remesh modifier. So the whole Sculpt Tools don't offer you completely new options. These are basically options you find on other places, but here you have everything in one place, so you have faster access. So, and I find this useful if you want to have a consistent subdivision for your mesh. So if you use dynamic topology, you have in some places higher density of polygons, in other places less density. And so you have the same density everywhere. And also if you have some problems with normals or anything like that, if you want to merge different objects and there are problems, then remeshing the objects could help. Then you also have this subdivision level. That means it will be remeshed with the steps and adds an additional subdivision. So then basically the quality is even higher. And this preserve shape option allows you that the shape of the object will be preserved as good as possible. So if I take this away and remesh it, you can see that we are losing a lot of details. So keep this enabled. Then the next option is freeze and unfreeze. Basically, if you are working on multiple objects, like in this case, I have the arms, the body and the other parts, then you can simply freeze one of those objects. This creates a low-res version of your object that you can see here and puts the high-res as a child and then hides it. So the high-res option is a separate object and it's still there. And now you can basically work smoother on other objects. So if I now sculpt here, I have no problems with this high resolution object here. So, and when you're done with editing, you simply press unfreeze and then you can see it will show up again. So if you have some children here, this can cause some troubles, as you can see. So if I clear all the children except the frozen one, but this will keep as children, and then hit unfreeze, you can see it works. So if you use this freeze function, take care that you don't have any other children in this object so that you don't lose any objects. So, but if you don't have any other children, then this freeze and unfreeze option works fine. Then we have union, difference, intersect, separate, and clone. These are Boolean tools, and you can also access them using, for example, the Boolean modifier, and also Blender already has another add-on called Bool Tool, and this gives you similar options. So if you don't want to install the Sculpt Tools, if you only want to use these options, then you simply can use a Bool Tool. So, and what you can do with this, if you're working on a sculpt and want to add or remove objects, you simply can do this using these options here. So I have the arms, they are separated, and I want to join them with the body. So I simply select the arms, then Shift, select the body, and now I can hit Union. Then it will take a short while, and then you can see it was unified. That means this is really one mesh now. If I fly inside, you can see it's really connected, not just simply stick together. And if you then in the sculpt mode, you can easily edit these areas, and you can see it is really connected with each other. And also in this way you can remove objects. So for example, if you're not happy with any part of this and you want to remove it completely, for example, if I join this here, and now you realize you don't want this part and you want to remove it, you can simply add a cube, for example, place this above this area, then simply select the cube, then the body, and then hit difference. And now you can see this was cut off, and then you can create new details up here in the sculpt mode. Then we have other options. We have this intersect. I do the same thing, then I hit intersect, and then you can see that only the part will stay which is inside the cube in this case. Then we have separate. Now you can see both parts are there still, but separated from each other. And then we have the clone option, that basically our body will stay the same, and we have a clone of the intersected section of these two objects. So definitely very useful if you are working with dynamic topology, adding and removing objects, pretty simple. And this clone option, for example, you can use if I want to clone a whole section of my model, for example, the arm here. Now I want to clone this. Then I have this arm, and then I can put them up here because this thing has 6 arms. It's a mutant carrot. Then I hit union, and then everything is one object. So as you can see, this works pretty fast. Then the next option is apply mods. This is cool because if you want to sculpt something, especially for dynamic topology, you have to apply the modifiers first. So here we have this pacifier, and as you can see, I used a lot of modifiers here. And if I want to sculpt on this, and go now to the sculpt mode, and for example, enable dynamic topology, you can see that all the modifiers will be disabled. And this is not what I want. So I simply can go to my Sculpt Tools and apply all, and then you can see all the modifiers were applied. As you can see up here, I also have another add-on enabled. This is called Modifier Tools, and this is already shipped with Blender, so you don't have to download anything. Simply enable this, and then you have these options here. And this gives you basically the same thing. So as you can see, you also can use other add-ons like the Bool tool, the Modifier tool, to have similar options as you have in this Sculpt Tools add-on. But as I mentioned before, here you have everything in one place. So, and the cool thing is, if you have multiple objects with modifiers, simply select them all and then hit apply mods. And then you can simply switch to the sculpt mode, use dynamic topology, and you're free to sculpt on these models. Then if you want to use a mesh deform modifier, you can add an object like a cube. then select this object, then your caret in this case, and then hit Mesh Deform. And then you have this Mesh Deform modifier. That means you can edit this cube, and then as you can see, the object inside will be deformed. This is working similar like the lattice modifier. And yeah, certainly you can also add this thing through a modifier, Mesh Deform. But with this option, you're directly in the edit mode and can edit everything, and you can apply this. Then we have this double-sided off option. This is for improving the speed in the viewport. Every object or every face has two sides, and you can display only one side if you like. And for that you have to disable double-sided. But in general, this option is disabled anyway. So basically you don't have to take care of this. So if I enable this and then hit double-sided off, you can see this will turn off double-sided for all the selected objects. Then we have this symmetrize option. This allows us to symmetrize the object on a certain axis. It's the same option you have for dynamic topology. I already showed this in the dynamic topology video. So if I rotate this here, so if I only use the body here, and for example want to mirror this side to this side, you can see it's a non-symmetrical sculpt here. But now I want to mirror it from the negative X direction to the positive X direction. Simply press symmetrize, and then you can see it was symmetrized. Here you can change the directions. So as you can see, exactly the same thing as for dynamic topology. Then we have this X mirror. This is different to the symmetrize option because this only mirrors the object and don't merge them. So if I have anything created on this side, like an arm or anything, and then hit X mirror, it will mirror this object along the X-axis using the median point of this object. So as you can see, I quickly can mirror this to the other side. Then we have this extract mask. This only works in sculpt mode. I have to use the mask brush. Then I have to paint a mask like this. And then I hit extract mask. And now as you can see, it creates a new object from this mask. So it has the shape of the mask and then adds thickness. And now down here you can edit the thickness. Now it has a head. And here you also can set the offset and also smooth this. So this is some handy tools if you want to add some closing or anything, but it's pretty slow, especially if you have a high resolution mesh. And as you can see here, now I have this solid option, and you have also flat and single-sided. So that's it with the extract mask. And then as last option, we have this grease cut. So we simply need to draw a line with a grease pencil. Simply hold down D, then left click and paint a line, and then click this grease cut, and then you will see that the object will be cutted along the line. So this is useful if you just want to quickly cut something off. Yeah, and this is basically everything about this Sculpt Tools. As mentioned, there are other tools you can use which have similar options, but in general I would recommend using the Sculpt Tools because here you have everything in place. It's free, so yeah, why not installing it?